The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC. And if you would like to see a live recording of The Angry Chicken, come on out to CreateCon in Orlando this July. Tickets and info over at createconvention.net.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. And I am still alive, Garrett Weinzierl, joined by never really was alive in question, or his aliveness, his state of being alive was never in question, Willie Dills Gregory. Well, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Welcome back. We missed you.
Thanks.
Me and Jocelyn held down the fort while you were gone last week, but now we're missing her. So I guess me and you are holding down the fort. So, hey.
Yeah.
It's a two-man operation these days.
And I have to kick things off by tooting your guys' horns, because you guys did a killer job. I had one of those really fun experiences that only happens, I guess, now every July, because it happened last year with Jocelyn. You were at the MGA tournament, and last year Jocelyn soloed a show with Karma. So every July, I get to go see my family on a family vacation that we do to the Florida Keys, and then on the way back, I get to listen to a podcast that I don't usually listen to because I'm usually on it.
You get to check out the best Hearthstone podcast in the world, man.
Yeah, it's a blast, man.
Like
so
you're a fan. Yeah.
So
I think people expect that we actually listen to the show. I don't know if you've ever had come across this where you're talking to someone who listens to the show, and they're surprised you don't. And I'm like, no, I can't
say it comes up all that often. Every now and then I get the question, do you listen to your own show?
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever gotten people like, oh, yeah, it must be hard to listen to the shows.
I've had people literally assume it. And I'm like, no. I can't. Oh. It's that weird thing where even though I've talked into microphones for a very long time, I still don't really like listening to my own voice. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Every time I hear myself on a recording, I'm like, whoa, that's not how it sounds in my headspace.
Yeah.
But
all I can do is be critical, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Like, did I really say that many times? Yeah, I don't like that.
Yes. My fantastic is a word I'd like to use a lot, and I notice that when I do listen to myself. But seriously, thank you, and thanks to Joss for holding things down while we're gone. Jocelyn isn't here today. She's off seeing a brand newborn baby right before she leaves tomorrow for CreateCon, so she's just a little busy. And babies are kind of important, guys. I don't know if you knew this. Babies are special.
They are the future, I've been told.
They are, Dills.
I believe it. Yeah.
I believe that children are the future.
By the way, before we kick into everything, I just want to say, what a sweet time to be a fan of the game Hearthstone. Like, there is so much good stuff going on, and being on like a World of Warcraft show for the past 6 years or whatever it is. Jeez, has it really been that long? Oh my God. That game goes through some terrible down cycles, and every time we think, oh man, Hearthstone's getting a little stale, huh?
Yep.
Could really use some new cards.
Yeah, really.
And all of a sudden,
SeatStory Cup happens.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and then right around the corner, big announcement, and then we're off to CreateCon. Like, I don't know, it's just like a never-ending. That's one thing that we could say about Hearthstone. Like, the excitement has not dipped after 3 years now.
Yeah, 2016 specifically, this year specifically, because if you go back and listen to older episodes of the show, especially leading up to, say, TGT or leading up to League of Explorers, actually probably specifically leading up to League of Explorers because TGT didn't have a giant effect on the game, there were downtimes, right? We did have those. Yeah. There was maybe about 2 months where we felt, oh, geez, okay, we really need something new. But I don't feel like that has happened this year.
No.
There's been a lot of hype.
After 10 months of WoW downtime, like, this is like a breath of fresh air to me.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's it's interesting because I do feel like Team 5 has been the quietest this year that they have ever been. They're not talking or there's not nearly as much outreach happening to the community. And we've even seen posts on Reddit and talk on Twitter about people kind of complaining, saying that's, a bad thing. And I always would love to see more conversation happening from the development team for really any game, and Hearthstone
Sure.
specifically. But that being said, I don't know. This year it hasn't stopped. Like you said, every time we think it's figured out, some new stuff comes up. And I went away for a week, and I come back, and I'm putting together the notes today, and I'm looking at all these decks at SeatStory Cup. I'm just like, was I just not paying attention before I left, or did this many strange new archetypes really pop up in a week's time?
Yeah, things shifted quite a bit, man, in the tournament scene, and it's awesome. Now, not to say ladder is still not just mostly Zoo and Warrior, but at least the tournament meta is really interesting to watch, and we're going to talk about some of the decks that were played. But this was a really fun weekend for me, just to like sit and watch as much Hearthstone as I could. I wanted to just watch Hearthstone all day, every day. Really, if I could have just done what I wanted to the entire weekend, it would have been sit my butt on a couch with an iPad in my hand and watch SeatStory Cup all day, every day.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, dude. You really need to just get like a low rank account, because I barely played at all while I was on my family vacation. And when I got back, I'm like, all right, let's grind out that ladder. And went from, I think, rank 17 up to 12. And I saw so many different types of decks. And then when I went to go catch up on SeatStory, I realized all of those decks were from SeatStory Cup. But,
yeah. You're like, oh, that's why so many people are playing Bog Creeper. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I didn't see any of the Bog Shamans, but I saw a lot of Rogues. I saw a Reno Lock for the first time in a long time. Not that I'm not actually sure if Reno Lock was played at SeatStory Cup. I didn't see it in any of the games that I watched. But
I think there was some, but not a lot. Mostly it was still Zoo as far as Warlocks. But Jackie Chan had a Dragon Warlock, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, kind of very, very interesting. But yeah, it's just absolute insanity. So I'm glad. Good thing to bring up at the top of the show, because I think Hearthstone is in a good place, and we're gonna have a damn announcement this Thursday, which brings us in to this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
The special announcement, aka totally the next adventure, which is probably most likely 99.9% going to be Karazhan, is going to be announced in 2 days, Dills. We're sitting here Tuesday. Yes. In 2 days, we're going to know what it is. And 2 days after that, we're going to be all sitting in the same room together at CreateCon in Orlando, and I believe our episode will write itself.
Pretty much. We if we were concerned about what to do for the live show, we don't have to be anymore.
No.
Because, it's actually really cool. For once, the announcement happens right before we do a show. Already scheduled. We don't have to move anything around.
Yeah.
We don't have to make any, adjustments. It's going to be sweet. I'm actually going to be flying in on Thursday super early, but I won't get there until I think the afternoon. But then I will be with you guys. We can all hang out and watch the announcement live together.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, man. It's at night. It's at 11 p.m. Pacific time. So for those
super late.
It's gonna be 1 a.m. I believe for us on the eastern side of the country. It's happening at the China Joy Conference. This is a conference going down in China, as the name would suggest.
Makes sense.
Exactly. There's still been a lot of underhanded hyping. We're not sure what's going on, but all of the hype surrounded around this has been party themed. The official Hearthstone Twitter account has been tweeting out pictures of current existing Hearthstone characters partying. So they added, more confetti to Anoyotron. They had Reno Jackson doing some disco dance moves. So nothing, no one we haven't seen before, but it is all this big party theme. So I don't know, man. I think I may have hit the nail a little too on the head. Are we actually getting Morose's dinner party at Karazhan? Is that actually going to happen?
I mean, it feels that way to me. And when we talk about some of our stuff later, I actually I have an actual Morose card that fits the theme. So I really think that's where we're headed, man. I really do.
Yep.
The funny thing was the Anoyotron tweet came out, and then people were like, "Oh my God, are they going to move Anoyotron into the standard list?" And I was like, "No, like guys, this is just announcing the adventure. No, I don't think they're going to move any cards into the standard list."
I think they were just having a ball. They were just having a ball.
Yeah.
So, they also I think they added wine into Anoyotron's bell that he's ringing. I think that was like the big alteration on that particular card. So who'd have thunk it? Anoyotron is a wino.
I mean, you don't dress like that unless you're drunk, right?
Or a clown. Unless
Yeah.
all clowns are drunk, I don't know. I've never been a clown, so maybe those of you out there could inform
Drunk
me.
robot clown with an afro. Makes sense.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So I'm excited for it. We're going to actually talk a little bit today about what we're hoping to see from Karazhan and from the next adventure, but we'll save that for a little bit. Speaking of hype, BlizzCon hype is gearing up. It's into full gear now. BlizzCon's coming up. It's still a ways out, Dills. It's November 4th and 5th of this year. It's the first weekend of November, as we assumed. But Blizzard has really kind of started bringing a lot more attention to it again. Kripparrian received the goodie bag and got to do kind of an unboxing video on YouTube. So now we know all of the goodies that we're going to get when we show up and grab our bag. I am a little excited about the BlizzCon Stein.
The Stein is sweet. I'm really a fan of the dice and also the Hearthstone fabric cloth thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's
pretty
like
sweet because it's
screen
like
cleaning
perfect for
cloth.
your iPad, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a little screen cleaning cloth.
Yeah.
They sold one like last year, so now we're just getting one in our bag.
Sweet.
Yeah.
The only thing, look, I'll say this: everybody was walking around with the friggin'
inflatable side blades.
Protoss things, yeah. Last year. I'm not a big fan of the big inflatable thing because it's really just junk that I then have to figure out what to do with for me. The hammer is cool, but I'm basically going to just hand it off to the nearest kid as soon as I get that thing. I do not care about those.
It's not my jam either, but I get it. You have to understand it, right? It's
fun.
It's for those live shots of the esports crowd. They all got their big
Everyone's got the
inflatable
damn hammer.
silly thing waving in the sky, and yeah, it's fine. It's not hurting anyone.
But did we know? Like we know for sure that now it's going to be a box. No more messenger bag. No more.
Well,
I didn't watch the video, so
last year was the only year it was a messenger bag.
yeah. But I want another one.
I wouldn't. Well, again,
or a backpack or something would be sweet, right?
I have enough of them that I always travel with one because I'm traveling, so I don't really need another damn bag.
But I liked it. It was so cool because like you showed up and then you're like, yeah, and then I got the bag and I put all my stuff and it's like I'm already ready to go. You know,
Yeah,
a backpack would be awesome.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I was
right.
if we're gonna sit here and complain about cool crap we get from getting to go to one of the most awesome events of the year.
It's not cool enough.
I always liked it when we got statues. We got the little Deathling statue the first year I went back in 2010. We got the Tyrael statue. When they used to have Sideshow collectible statues, and they were awesome. So last year I was kind of like, I like the bag. I have a lot of bags. I just bought the anniversary Warcraft bag. I don't really need it, but I'm glad we're getting like this dope ass Stein, and I'm sure we're going to see a ton of people in the Hilton bar drinking out of those things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. By the way, the coolest thing that I do own, I don't usually like a lot of swag anyway, but it's that. For the listening audience, it's my Tiny Arthas helmet, which I won because I played a Hearthstone tournament at whatchamacallit, and I won the tournament, but Viper actually donated it to like give to the winner, and then I won the tournament, and I was like, oh, sweet.
I guess it's mine now. Yeah, that's
and I looked
hilarious.
it up the other day. These are like $400. It's like a tiny little Arthas helmet. It's $400.
They were only for sale for like a year, I think.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing ever. I ripped it right out of the box as soon as I got it, and was like, yeah. But now I'm like, that's like a thing.
Were you really gonna sell it
realize.
though? Were you really gonna? Because I could sell my original.
Oh, I'm not gonna sell it.
My original Diablo Collector's Edition. Those ones are actually hard to find for Diablo 3. Not for Reaper of Souls. I can still find that at Target. But you're gonna open it, and I'm gonna install it, and I'm gonna have all the cool stuff. That's the point.
No, there's no way I would ever sell it. I was just curious, like, because someone said, "Oh, that's worth something," and I was like, "What? No, it's just a thing, you know." But no, apparently it is.
Yep. Well,
I'm bad when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm as always looking forward to BlizzCon. It's always a good time. For us, it's just good to get see each other in person and party and have a good time. I know we're gonna do that this weekend, but I'm glad that it won't be such a long break before it happens again because BlizzCon's right around the bend. Also, folks, if you're interested, if you can't make it out there, the virtual ticket is for sale. And I forgot, because this started last year, you can actually buy the physical goodie bag on the Blizzard store if you're not going. Because it used to be you can only get the goodie bag if you went, but now they sell them, and I think that started last year.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, if a lot of people can't go, obviously, for multiple reasons. One is that you can't even get a ticket because it's like freaking impossible sometimes. But, it makes you feel like you're much more a part of the event, I think, to actually get the physical stuff as well. It really kind of separated people out. Like, hey, I got this cool thing. And you're like, I just watched it from home.
Yep.
So now it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit more there. I think the virtual stuff is you actually experience a whole different side of BlizzCon than what you actually get to do when you go. Because you can't do everything. You end up walking around like you wish you were all the places at the same time.
We've said it before. If your goal is to be informed and to find out the new stuff coming from Blizzard, watching the stream is the better way to do it.
It's actually better.
Because trying to maneuver through 24,000 people and see multiple events happening simultaneously, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Like literally last year, you couldn't even get into StarCraft after a certain point. I mean, it was crazy. Just so crazy everywhere. And it's going to be, I mean, it's never going to die down. BlizzCon is the biggest event that I go to every year. It's awesome.
Yep. Also, the digital goodies that we'll be getting either with the virtual ticket or just for showing up have not been announced yet. I'm sure it'll be another Hearthstone card back. I would love for it to be something different.
Some sort of Murloc thing.
Yeah. I would love to not get a card back. I'd like to get something else cool. Maybe a portrait or something.
Gold card, man. That was awesome. Getting ETC.
Yeah, give me a gold card and then make it craftable, or give me a hero portrait now that that's a thing. I don't know.
Sure.
There's a lot of routes they could take.
Yeah, it's like another card back that I just scroll through every now and then don't use.
Yeah. So, well, SeatStory Cup happened while I was gone. You had a very good time sitting down and watching it this weekend, and then
as much as I could. It was the best tournament probably ever in Hearthstone. I think
it was
like just all of it put together.
It's pretty damn spectacular.
Games, yeah.
There's something special about SeatStory in general. Just the whole atmosphere of it. It's very stripped down. It's a lot more casual. It's what you would expect a lot of these people are like when they're just hanging out on a couch discussing a game together. If you ever wanted to hear the saltiest cast in history, just watch Reynad cast any of the games that he casted, especially the ones where Frodan was playing his Bog Shaman.
That actually, if you haven't, like, if you're gonna catch just a few of the matches, definitely Tice Life Coach is amazing. But Frodan Strife Crow, watch that cast because you got Eloise casting with Reynad, and I think it's Gara, but it was hilarious. Like, Eloise is a master troll.
It was Hearthstone gold because Reynad was just being so salty, and Eloise was like, well, no, here's a serious play you could make with this absurd deck we're watching, and she was right.
Yeah.
But
not only that, but if you want to see one of the funniest moments I've ever seen in a Hearthstone tournament, scroll through until you find Oskaka kissing Reynad on the forehead. It was weird. It was awesome. It was hilarious. I think I was like crying laughing so hard because it was just so awkward.
Yeah. So congrats to Life Coach. This was his first major win of this year, which I hadn't even crossed my mind until he won, and then I'm like. And they started talking about his past accolades, and it's like, oh, that's right. He really killed it at the beginning of last year, and kind of been pretty quiet since.
He kind of took a hiatus from tournaments, really. And he's done this a few times. He doesn't, Life Coach is a weird kind of entity in the Hearthstone scene because most of the players are kids who are, just have lots of time on their hands and get really good at Hearthstone. And he's like a former poker pro who has a ton of money and just really enjoys Hearthstone for the competitive aspect of it. And, he streams just to be educational. He doesn't even accept donations. And he shares his deck lists. Like, he's an anomaly in the Hearthstone scene. But when he really applies himself, like, he's probably top 5, at least, but maybe even the best Hearthstone player there is.
He's exceptional. And you mentioned his games against Tice, and I want to suggest that again. If you missed any games, definitely go watch. If you only watch 2 things, watch Life Coach and Tice, and then Frodan versus Strife Crow. The Life Coach and Tice games were so technically perfect. It was nuts.
Yeah. Well, so I was talking about it in my chat last night as I was streaming, and my chat pointed out there was one mistake made in the entire series, and you could maybe point to one other one as being a semi mistake, but it was with imperfect information, right? If you knew all the information, then you could say Tice would have won this game if he had done this. But, there was definitely reasons not to do that because he doesn't have all the information, right? But Life Coach made, I think, one mistake, and that was it. Like, that's it. Over a 2.5 hour long, 7-game series, one mistake is all you can really find that you can say for sure, like, that's a mistake. And that's what separates the best from everybody else. Like, you can say, oh, Hearthstone's an RNG game. But what it comes down to is just not making mistakes, right? And then you give yourself the best chance to win. Both those guys played So good. It was like crazy. It was like they knew what the other guy had, you know, and the casters knew, and they were talking about, well, he should do this. Like, will he catch it, though? Will he see it? And then they saw it, like, every single time. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Yep. Really good tournament overall. So big congrats to Life Coach. The deck lists for many of the players are up. Gosu Gamers has Life Coaches and Jackie Chan's deck lists. But we actually wanted to take a look at Frodan's Bogchamp Shaman because it's absurd. And also Dill's, which I'll have to fix this overlay very quickly. I'm not able to play because, dude, I got rid of Farsight forever ago.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually, so in the world without GVG cards and stuff, when you have to start, you know, finding good cards, it actually is pretty good. I mean, it cycles your deck, and as long as you build a deck that doesn't have a lot of cheap cards in it, which this deck doesn't, you're kind of guaranteed to get that value back, and it basically enables these crazy combos, right? So what it allows you to do is, like, you Farsight into Earth Elemental, and then Earth Elemental costs 2, and now you can Earth Elemental, Ancestral Spirit, and Faceless Manipulator all in the same turn, right? Which is like, that's the play that just kind of locks games up. So Farsight is a huge deal in this deck.
Yeah, it's not a card I have thought about in a very long time. I had them, and I dusted them a long time ago, probably when I don't even remember when. It was probably when one of the expansions came out, and there was some card that I really wanted that I didn't crack my initial big kind of crack-a-pack opening. And I was like, I'll never play this. Got rid of it and crafted something else. But then while I was watching it, like watching Frodan play this, and I think the first game he was against Strifecrow's Druid, I'm like, you know, in a way, Farsight's kind of accomplishing the same thing that Innervate is for Druids. It's just in a different way, a much different way. It's a lot more random, so you have way less control. So in a vacuum, Innervate is just way better than something like Farsight because of the control you have over it. But you're still cheating mana.
Yeah, but you're also drawing a card, right? So Innervate, you're always like gaining this tempo advantage at the loss of card advantage.
Right.
And Farsight kind of accomplishes both. And yes, there's the random element to it, which is what makes it like I think it would be totally imbalanced if it was like discover 3 cards, right? And then make it cost 3 less.
Oh, good God. That would be absurd. And now I want that in a brawl.
Yeah, but see, the reason why this card works so well in this deck is because there's so many things that cost exactly 3, and there's so many things that cost, 5, 7, 6, whatever. If you look at the curve, there's literally no 4s at all.
Nope.
So you end up with you draw a card, and it's almost guaranteed to be something that costs 3 or more, which then becomes like you're getting full value on that draw, right? So, and because you overload so much with the deck, it's actually sometimes really tough to fit things in, and it enables everything. It kind of unlocks the deck's potential. Which I don't think, we ever thought Farsight was going to be the card that unlocked a deck's potential, right? But here we are.
No, exactly.
2016.
Like, your comments at the top of the show were exactly what was going through my mind when I saw this deck being played. It's like, okay, Hearthstone's in a great place. You know what? This adventure could wait a little longer, probably, honestly.
So I was playing this deck last night. I will say there's a few things that I would maybe change. One is that Halazeal, I can see why it's in, but I've found lackluster, and not really kind of doing what, like, if there was other cards in place of Halazeal, they probably would have served me better. So a couple of the ideas were putting in Emperor Thaurissan, because obviously, like, that helps as well with all the kind of things you're trying to do.
It plays better to the goal of the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, make this stuff cheap so you can actually play them all on the same turn and then do these broken turns where you end up with Ancestral Spirited, Faceless Manipulator stuff, right? And then they can never get through your wall, which is kind of the idea here. And Halazeal, I see it. I get why it's in there, but I think that's probably a spot where you could find something better. And I actually tried out the, now I'm never going to remember the name, the 3/2 that removes your Overload as well, because I found Overload was a huge problem in this deck. And I thought that was actually an improvement over Halazeal too. So I think you could go several different directions there. But basically, like, because you elemental destruction so often, and you do things like Earth Elemental, it's like one more way to unlock your Overload was huge.
Yeah. But having 2 elemental destructions, I get why your brain goes, I have to have Halazeal. I have 2 elemental destructions. Why wouldn't I have this in here?
Yeah, and no, and it makes sense because it will against say like a zoo deck, it will like bring your life total back up when you play both of those together. It's like it's a pretty sweet combo. Halazeel lives. It's akin to like Aconized Circle, right? Because you damage Halazeel, but you just gain all of this health, right?
Yep.
But that being said, I still found that with 2 healing waves, I wasn't in that situation enough. You know, it was like I have 3 cards that do the same thing here. So I kind of was just, I started playing with it, and I was like, I'd rather just unlock my overload more often, because that was really the problem. That was why I was losing games, because the turn I Elemental Destruction, I skip the next turn. Like, I just skip the next turn if I can't unlock those crystals. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think you're going to see more versions of this tuned different ways, because I think the idea here is sound. We looked at it at the tournament, and everyone went like, oh my God, Ella giggle, laugh, whatever. This is PogChamp. Everybody made the jokes, right? It was the Mimi deck of the tournament. But I think there's something here, man, that's real. And I think we're not going to see this. This is not the end of this deck. People will toy with this and come up with different versions that are even tighter. Yeah. But I think it's a really good deck. Solid.
Yep. There's a reason it got banned. There's a reason Frodan went 6-0 with it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just that first game against Strifecrow, it's like, what does a druid do against this many hit points? There's too much health.
Run out. Yeah.
There's too much minion health to be dealt with.
And no one's running silence anymore. So until people start to tech in spell breakers, this deck's going to run rampant, you know? We'll see people bringing, like, teching in, you know, polymorphs and stuff to try to combat this deck, because once you get that big wall up that's Ancestral Spirited, that's it. Like, there's nothing you can do. It's like game over. So it's cool. It's a cool deck.
Yep, it's a good time.
I think it was actually, maybe it was Super JJ who actually came up with the version, but Frodan has now made it famous. So now it is Frodan's deck from here on out.
From now here on out, it'll just be known as Frodan Shaman.
Yep.
Frodaman.
By the way, I want to give one more shout out to another moment from the tournament, and that is Naaman taking Astral Communion off of when he was playing Druid, and then innervating it out, and then winning that game. That was dope. So, Naaman, big shout out to you as well. We had a lot of heroes in this tournament. We had Frodan, we had Jackie Chan, we had Life Coach Tice. Like, all these people had some amazing moments. But Naaman was my favorite moment of the whole damn thing.
Yeah, just a good overall tournament. Anyways, before we talk a little bit about Kara and adventure predictions, let's thank our patrons who are supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. Thank you guys. It's the whole reason we get to do extra shows, Brawl episodes. It honestly made putting on CreateCon significantly easier this year. So thank you. This episode, thank you to Jason M, Bjorn, Bill G, Alex C, Keith K, Melissa M, Shane C, Jonathan K, and Clint W. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. And hey, if you're out there, if you're not a patron, if you like what we're doing and you want to support the show, patreon.com/TAC is the best way to do so. Now, Dills, let's have a little fun, because it is literally the last time we get to do this before we know what the hell the adventure actually is. So what are you hoping to see on Thursday, man? I mean, if it is Kara, which we're pretty damn sure it is, what do they absolutely have to hit? What cannot be excluded? Because there's a lot of things in Kara. I would be surprised if it was all represented. What absolutely needs to be hit? Because like chess event. There's got to be a chess event.
Chess event. I'm really curious to see how they pull that off. I'm imagining maybe it just starts with a full board on each side. We have a king, a queen, you know, a rook, a pawn, whatever, like maybe 2 pawns on the outer edge or something like that. I'm expecting that, something like that, and then we'll have some kind of weird technical battle rule. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
What if you start off with 7 just 1/1 pawns, and as they die, the piece that should be behind them replaces it? So if you kill like the two middle,
you could have in your hand, you could have all the like king, queen, you know, rook, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't play out like actual chess at all, but that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're I'm sure, but you know we've seen it like with the what was it, the friggin' where you're riding in the cart down the mine shaft or whatever. Like, we've seen stuff where they've altered the rules a little bit and they have it kind of set up. So I'm sure it'll be something along those lines. But that definitely has to be there. I mean, that is iconic. At this point, it's annoying when you try to solo Kara because you have to go in and do it by yourself. But have you done that recently, by the way?
I was actually just in there today.
Oh, nice.
Because we got a dope-ass WoW patch, and so there were a couple pieces in there I really wanted for Transmog. So I was in there today, although I'm only about halfway through. I did it just a little bit before the show. So I'm not up to chess event yet, and yes, it does totally suck to solo.
Yeah, so what you have to do for the chess event is you actually have to like move some pawns out of the way so that you can then move the king, because Medivh cheats in the chess event and throws down fire under your king and stuff, right?
Yep.
So then you have to and then each time you control a guy, it moves you back to the top of the stairs, and you have to run back down and then right-click the guy again and take control, and then exit the guy and then run back and then do it and it's the dumbest thing ever.
Having one friend makes it infinitely easier.
Oh yeah. Because you can just control the queen because she does a ton of damage. You just do the queen and then you just keep attacking the king.
Yep.
Anyway, it's stupid, but it was such a cool thing when it happened, and it was one of those moments where World of Warcraft was like proving that it was creating these really interesting encounters.
Yeah.
But I think that one for sure, the opera event, obviously, where you don't know which boss you're going to face. I think that's pretty important.
Malchezaar, obviously, as the final boss, has to be in there in some respect.
So let me show you. I got some cards here.
Okay. All right.
I've theory crafted a couple cards.
All right. So are we looking at Morose, or are we looking at Malchezaar first?
Let's start with Morose.
Okay.
I think Morose is Morose.
Because I can pull this in here. I'll sorry, Jocelyn's disembodied head. I will just cover you up with Dills's. So this is Dills's theory crafted Morose. So Dills, according to you, Morose should be a rogue legendary, which I'm already on board.
Yes.
You're dead on. Should cost 5 mana, have 4 attack, 4 health, and it should have a death rattle that reads, summon a random dinner guest. Now, Dills, did you do extra credit? Did you actually theory craft dinner guest cards?
No, not 100%, but I'll just tell you. Okay, so just for everyone out there, this is just a card I invented. This is not, we did not find a leak. This is not what actually is going to happen. This is my own just whatever. But anyway, so Morose, 5 mana, 4/4. All the dinner guests are a random selection from the dinner guests that you get, right? And if you played the encounter, you know that it's like a holy paladin, like a prot warrior. I think there's a shadow priest and a holy priest or something too. But basically the idea is these will all be 1/1s, and when they come out, whichever one it is will have an effect based on which one it is. This is what I'm thinking.
Okay, so the tank will have taunt, the healer will heal. Do some type of heal effect.
The prot warrior will be a 1/1 with taunt. The paladin will be a 1/1 with a divine shield. The priest will come out and then randomly heal something. The shadow priest will come out and randomly damage something. That kind of thing, right? So whichever one you get will do something when it comes out, and then that effect will be random, but it'll always be a 1/1. So you're always getting 5/5 for 5 with a death rattle body to it, right? So I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe it needs to be a 5 mana 4/5 though to really be balanced. But when the 1/1 does something, I feel like that kind of brings it into line.
It would depend on the effects. The effects would have to be worth it because otherwise you're just kind of underpaying here.
But also it's a death rattle. So in a rogue, death rattle is you can raptor this. You can bring it back with N'Zoth. You can do all the death rattly stuff rogues do, and you can discover Morose with whatchamacallit. The 1 mana thing. Discover a death rattle minion.
The 1 mana thing. Journey in...
you know what I'm talking about. Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah. What can I think of the full name? It's just Journey into the something. Journey Below.
Journey Below. Yes. Thank you. There's too many cards at this point. Dude.
There are.
There was a time when this didn't happen. And now I'm that one card does the thing. Yeah.
You just start... Yeah, it's the stats with the effect. There you go. It costs this much. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I like it. And it's 5 mana. It's not 4 mana, so it's not going to compete with Zeril at the moment because Zeril is a legendary that we're seeing in just about every game.
I was looking at it and I was like, we already have a death rattle minion at 2, at 4. You can technically say 6 is your Sylvanas Cairn slot. I was like, hey, we don't have really one at 5, so this makes sense.
Hell, at 5, the only thing we're really seeing, rogue specific is Dark Iron Skulker, and that's a more recent thing that we've been seeing slotted into rogue decks.
And that doesn't make it into that many at this point. Yeah. So I think it would definitely make it into some decks for sure.
Yeah, I can dig it.
All right.
Well, let's
check out this next one.
Take a look at this other card you brought up, which is Prince Malchezaar.
Oh yeah.
So according to
another one where there was extra credit that needed to be done that I did not do.
All right. So according to Dills, again, this is not a leaked card. This is Dill's Theory Crafting. Prince Malchezaar should be a legendary Warlock Demon. That's just required. I don't know what the hell else it would be. No. Cost 10 mana, 9 attack, 7 health, and at the end of your turn, summon a Nether Sprite Infernal.
Yes. So if you remember the fight, so now let me explain to you what the Nether Sprite Infernals are, because if you remember the fight, now this may be OP as hell, but I'm going from the Ben Brode school of card design, where I just come up with this idea, and then I go to Ixar and I go, make it balanced, so that's what I'm assuming is the process. But so here we go, 10 mana, 9/7. I mean, a 9/7 for 10, that's fine, right? That's like probably underpowered, right, for 10 mana. But the Nether Sprite Infernal is going to be a 1/1 that's untargetable by spells or hero powers.
So
right?
It's going to summon Infernal Fairy Dragons.
Yeah. But if you remember the fight at Prince Malchezaar, like the Infernals that came out were untargetable, and they basically like cast a little hellfire.
Yep.
So
and that's why you would. So we're going to cheese the fight and stand in the doorway the whole time we fight him, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But basically, he'll summon the Infernals at the end of his turn. There'll be 1/1s that they're not stealth or anything. I mean, you can still run minions into them and weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then they're going to do like a Demon Wrath effect at the end of the turn, but for 1. So they will do 1 damage to all non-demons, and then that will build the more Infernals build up. So after a bunch of them come out, you're just dealing 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage if you can't deal with them, and then it just becomes ridiculous. So it must be dealt with.
I can dig. Which if you're paying 10 mana for something, it should have hidden text dies.
Some power. Yeah, exactly. But I was looking at Warlocks, and he like this fits his flavor, but also there's not really like an awesome demon Warlock these days, and maybe it's because Mal'Ganis is gone and we don't have that tool anymore. Who knows? Maybe Prince Malchezaar, some card like that could be the key to unlocking demon synergy that Warlocks need.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm really sad there's not a demon Warlock. That was my favorite. I think that was my all-time favorite. Hold on, let me think about this. Yeah, no, I think that's my all-time favorite Warlock archetype, and it's not a thing anymore.
Well, you can play it in Wild, but then you're in Wild. So.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean.
I haven't tried that, dude. That would actually be really sweet, like a N'Zoth Demon Warlock.
Actually, yeah, that would be pretty dope.
All right, this is going to happen.
All right. I know. I think I know what we're doing after the show.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just trying to think, because, again, there are so many encounters in Karazhan, so I'm looking through right now. Ooh, I want to see Shade of Aran as a boss fight in the adventure itself. That needs to be in there. That was such a cool fight.
I figure we'll see, because Karazhan has, like 11 bosses or something like that? I mean, I figure we'll just see all of them as fights, right? Let me see. I'll pull it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 bosses. So
I guess there's a chance they could fit that all in.
Yeah, I think they could. Absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
4 bosses a wing, 3 wings, or 3 bosses a wing, 4 wings, something like that.
Yeah. We'll see. What about Autumn and the Huntsman, man? You gotta fight his horses.
Hell yeah. I mean, honestly, like, there's not now the bosses are all, whatever. You just go in and you auto-shot them once and they're dead. But, like, at the time, these were all, like, some of the funnest fights. Like, Maiden of Virtue, that's a fun fight, man. So, yeah, I'd love to see all this stuff added, honestly. Karazhan's not really, like, a wing place, though. Like, you don't really... But you do unlock certain sections of it, right? Like, there's the broken staircase, and then you go outside, and, So,
yeah,
I mean,
it's still very...
Kind of
because if you talk to the guy when you go in that ports you, there are names for the different sections of Karazhan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Midnight Bomber says, "Are you counting the 3 optional animal bosses?" Well, yeah, I'm counting Opera Event as one thing, and then I'm counting the optional bosses as well.
Oh yeah, what would
There's like 12 total.
Yeah, I would like to honestly see all of the opera. The opera could be its own wing.
That's true. You'd fight, what is it, Romulo and Julian or something?
Yeah, not Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Not Little Red Riding Hood.
Red Riding Hood.
And not Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
No, you got to put not in front, Dills. Come on.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, exactly.
Legal reasons.
By the way, just talking about this reminds me of like how awesome this was at level. It was so good.
It was.
This is actually one
fantastic.
of the first raids that I actually did at level. Like, I remember hitting 70, and everyone was like to that point, so I missed all of the other stuff before it. But everyone, like, it was like Kara was like the place everyone was in every week, week after week after week, forever.
That was my that was my first raid.
Oh, really?
It is
nice.
really, it's very special to me.
Yeah.
I started playing when the game first came out. I played in vanilla, but I didn't hit max level during vanilla.
So I think my first one was actually Yogg-Saron. Remember that one? It was like the one boss that you went in, and then you had to click the orbs or whatever, click the cubes.
Oh yeah, that was being Yogg-Saron,
yeah.
and they were the cubes. Yeah, that was in
Yeah.
the bottom of.
That was the first
health.
one I did, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm ready for Kara now. What's up?" And then I went into Kara. But this was funny because at the time, all I had done at max level was PvP. It was like all I had done, but I was playing Beastmaster Hunter, which was so broken that I walked into Karazhan in all my PvP gear and was top DPS. And I was like, "Oh man, raiding is so fun, you guys."
I did the same. I had that all. It was the PvP, because back then PvP sets were copies of the raid set, just slightly different colors. So I had the all black Demon Hunter set. That was the PvP set at the time, and I was BM, and I was just kicking ass.
Yeah, and you were just spamming arcane shots.
Yeah, exactly.
That was basically what it was.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was like that was when I got hooked on raiding. I was like, oh,
Yep.
so this is like PvP, but I'm fighting a big boss instead.
Fighting a big boss, and there's people
And I still
yelling in
get
my
to
ear.
win. Like
Exactly, and there's people yelling in my ear, telling me what to do.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then I
loved it.
die, and I go, "Oh, sorry, I stood in the poop."
I'm so excited to get back in there and have it be like a fun, hard thing. You know, like soloing stuff is really cool because you get to see some of the lore aspects again. You get to kind of relive it, but there's really no experience like, you know, I want to like tune down and go fight Karazhan again. Like when they brought back Blackrock, you know, that was super fun. And I would love to see more events like that in World of Warcraft because it really is so cool.
I would too. I'd be very in on that. So, well, anyways, I think we've talked about our predictions enough. Boy, would it be hilarious if on Thursday not Karazhan was announced. Like it was
Yeah.
anything but.
Dude, I really hope that one of my cards is at least close. If one of my cards is close, I'm gonna start doing this more often. It's actually really fun. I don't know if you've ever messed with this, Garrett, but just go to hearthcards.net and they got a little tool, and you just build out your theory crafted cards.
I have seen it before, but I've never tried to build my own card. So
all right, we'll have to have an episode where we all theory craft some cards and talk about them because I think it's actually pretty fun.
We need to plan that ahead of time because doing this stuff on the
Yes.
fly is nuts. And which hint to those of you writing us emails: if your email asks us to think of cards on the fly, it's not happening.
No, yeah,
Then we just sit here and it's a whole lot of.
yeah, we can go with like ideas, but actual cards, need some time.
It's one of those anything could be anything discussions. It's like, well, there's a lot to work with here. So, anyways, let's take a crazy game story.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com, and I enjoyed listening to Jocelyn read it so much last week. I'm going to make Bills do it this week.
Oh, okay. Well, this one comes from Scott, who says, "Hi there, choleric coots." That's a deep cut right there. I was playing around with a N'Zoth Anyfin deck. I know it sounds crazy, but I saw Tice on Twitch destroying legend ranks with it and gave it a shot. It's actually a deck. It's a real deck. We actually talked about it on Value Town, which I was on last week, and it came up. So yeah, it's a thing. And I came up against a Zoo, which is easy pickings for what I've begun to call the Aquamancer deck.
I like that.
This time, however, yeah, that's a nice name. This time, however, it wasn't going so well as I was having trouble drawing into my board clears and heals in the face of an ever-growing board, so I found myself dropping a Desperate Doomsayer in order to draw away 7 damage to live another few turns. Unfortunately, my opponent dropped a Bran and an Abusive Sergeant and double buffed an existing minion, but ignored the Doomsayer and sent all minions to my face. "I greet you," came the repeated taunt. Obviously, they had another answer to my Apocalyptic Amigo as a card hovered ominously. Finally, they played a Crazed Alchemist with the intent of swapping my Doomsayer's health and attack from 0-7 to 7-0, thus killing it. My heart sank as the stats flipped. But wait, they flipped back to normal, and my Doomsayer survived. All I can say is, praise Bran Bronzebeard. Clearly, my opponent was confused. I was like, I see where this is going as soon as he started talking about Crazed Alchemist. Clearly, my opponent was confused, and a few moments passed before they ended their turn, and my Doomsayer's predictions of a minion-free board came to fruition. With that huge swing, I managed to claw myself back to the game and had a satisfying victory. I was actually surprised by Doomsayer survived because he was clinically dead at 0 health for a fraction of a second. Let this be a lesson to always think before you BM. Oh, BBBBM. The extra B's are for Brand Beard.
So Brand's Beard BM.
Yes.
All right. Well played. Well played, Scott.
That's awesome, man. That is super sweet. Because I do know, like, we've talked about when Brand first came out, we talked all about, like, what the permutations are, and people made infographics for it and everything. But I think we've kind of passed the point where people mess this up. But when it happens, it's epic, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could technically say that he should have died because at one point he was at 0 health, right? But the battle cries both happen before the damage is resolved, right? So,
Yep.
Whoops.
Yep. Crazy stuff there, man. Which this made me think of, by the way, all the BMing is I came across a new worse feeling in Hearthstone today, Dills.
Okay. I'm listening.
I was playing mid-range hunter. I was against... God, what the hell was I even against? I don't remember. Oh, it was a warlock. I was up against a warlock. We were both really low, and it was late in the game, and I didn't have a whole lot of cards left. I was one kill command away from beating the warlock. This was the Reno lock I was telling you about, by the way. Now that I think about it, it's the Reno lock I was playing against. So I was very confused the first few turns. I was like, what? Huh? Okay, Reno lock. And I just wasn't drawing it. And the only thing I can assume is that my opponent thought I had it. Because because I was waiting for the power overwhelming. That's all he needed to kill me, and he hadn't played one yet. So he was just taking one card and just holding it out over the board and was like letting it go to rope. And I'm like, he must think I have it, and he's trying to make me think that he does have an answer when he clearly doesn't. But it felt terrible because I didn't have an answer. I didn't have it, and I still lost that game, even though this guy was being a jackass. And just
you're both like sitting there playing around things that the other guy doesn't have.
Exactly.
Dragging it out.
He's trying to bluff that he has some card that kills me, and it's like, well, dude, you're going to win anyway. So could you please just pass the turn so I can see that I'm not going to top that kill command? But that felt pretty bad. It felt pretty bad.
So Cheesy Bob in the chat said in Magic the Gathering he would have been dead, which is true because in Magic they would have basically considered the first swap as being on the stack and then the second swap as being on the stack, and at some point during the resolution of the stack it would have been at 0 health. But that's not how Hearthstone works.
No, it's not. It has its own bizarre stack.
Yeah.
It's like, no, all of these actions occur and then we resolve health.
There's a stack, but things always happen in certain orders on that stack, not based on when they were played necessarily. And yes, it's weird.
Yeah,
but
so basically, that Doomsayer
goes in the same order every time at least.
That Doomsayer just had a near-death experience. Is all that happened.
Yeah,
he
had a brief moment of terror, and then he was like, "I'm back."
He snuffed
and
out.
And then I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. He was alive, dead, alive, and then dead again. But he took a bunch of friends with him to the afterlife. So at least he didn't die alone. But
that is the that is like the hair metal rocker of Doomsayers right there. Just having near-death experiences all the time. This is the Nikki Six of Doomsayers. There you go. That was the reference I was looking for.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you for your story there, Scott, and we're going to round the show out with an email or two.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to the same place, tacpodcast@gmail.com. Ryan writes in and says, hello, Joss, Dills, and Garrett. My name is Ryan, and I just started listening to the show this last week. I have listened to episodes 161 and 162, and I enjoyed listening to the three of you. I wanted to go back and listen to all of your discussions from the beginning, but I noticed that the earliest available is 143. Why is that? Because of the way the blogs on Squarespace work. All of the previous episodes are on youtube.com/amovetv, or you can go to amove.tv/TAC to see every episode ever.
Yeah. Actually, recently, too, iTunes kind of messed some things up. I remember this was a big deal when I was working at Podomatic, where they were only displaying like the last 20 episodes. So it's just kind of a weird thing with how blogs and RSS feeds have kind of always worked, is where they don't really want to load everything because then it's like a huge query to their database, and they just, So a lot of times they are truncated. But like Garrett said, we do have all of them available, and it's a nice, friendly playlist. You could scroll all the way. You can sort by oldest, and then go ahead and check all of the episodes out. So
yep,
it's nice that we have the archive there. But yeah, I know the frustration when you like when you discover a podcast, it is one of the coolest things, right, to do. Is you discover a new podcast you really like, and then you just binge it. You go all the way back to the beginning and you binge the thing forever. And I've done this with many, many shows. So first of all, it's super cool to hear that someone wants to do it for our show, because that's a nice feeling. When people want to do the same thing I do for other shows to ours, but we do have it available for you. We got good news, Ryan.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, just head over to amove.tv/TAC or youtube.com/amovetv for the archives there. Go check that out. I believe it's like episode 5 or episode 6. It was our first ever episode live from BlizzCon. There is not a video of that. That is audio only. You will have to go to AMove TV to find that episode. Because there
you go. That's the deep cut. That's the B side, right?
Yeah,
there.
Exactly. That's the hard one to find. It's not that hard to find. Just AMove TV and you'll find it. But that wasn't the only question he asked, though. He said, I was also wondering if I can get to know a little more about the three of you. Well, you'll have to settle for 2, but what are your favorite classes? Have you been playing since it was released? And what are your other favorite games? Yeah, we've been playing since beta. We've been doing this show since beta. So, yeah, we've all been
day
playing.
Day 1 of beta, we were in there.
Yep.
I think we were all in there on day 1. I'm not sure.
No, it was a few days after, because I don't know about you. I know I got in a few days after because I distinctly remember watching Total Biscuit's stream and thinking, holy shit, I need this game and I need it now.
Yeah. I remember, like, I had the people who listened to the instance knew that I was talking about it a lot on the show and how excited I was for it. So I was lucky enough to get hooked up, like, on day 1. And I remember, like, I actually have a stream of me like playing a shaman arena or something on day 1. I was like, ooh, what's this arena thing? And then I go in there and I'm like, oh, that has taunt. Oh, I need that. Oh God, look, it has taunt. I think I even drafted like a Goldshire Footman or something. Like, it was bad. It was bad. My lack of knowledge about what was good and bad in Hearthstone was hilarious at the time. That's how everybody kind of was.
Somebody let that Goldshire Footman Twitter account know Dills is talking smack again. That was also something that happened in the very early days of the show, was the Goldshire Footman Twitter account was having an all-out war with Willie Dills, because
that's right.
Dills loved talking smack about that card.
We've since calmed down because, he's just so out of the meta, and it's just like I've almost forgotten that card even exists at this point. So,
yep.
But I assume after that comment, I will hear from him again. I'll say, yeah, early beta, like day 1. My other favorite games are just all the other Blizzard games. But here, okay, my favorite, like my last favorite game that wasn't a Blizzard game, Final Fantasy 10. There you go.
Nice. Final Fantasy 10?
That game was awesome. Yeah.
Okay. I never pegged you as a Final Fantasy fan.
That was the last game I like played to completion. Like, I finished the game. I don't often do it anymore because I usually, like, at a certain point, I don't play a lot of console games anyway. But like, that was the last time I played a game where I was like, all right, everybody, I need the TV for the rest of the night. I'm sorry. I like lived with a bunch of like guy roommates. I was like, you can hang in here and, watch me play Final Fantasy if you want to, but like, that's what I'm doing all night.
You're just like, guys, you don't understand. When I ended last night, what happened to Eris, man? I got to see what happens next. Yeah. You don't get it. It's the first game to me. I'm so close, dudes. I'm so close. But I was also doing like all the side games and like it was bad, dude. Yeah, but I never got into Final Fantasy.
To me, it was like until World of Warcraft, that really scratched that itch, right? Of and leveling up and all that kind of stuff, Yeah,
so. And I am going to save your emails. I know Eris wasn't in Final Fantasy X. I just know so little about Final Fantasy. That's one of the few references I can make.
You should. Okay, so they're remaking 7, right?
Which is the one Eris is in. Yes, I know. Everyone.
And that's going to be a big deal. So
it is. They're not for me. They're not my jam. I get it. They don't do it for me. They're a little too. It's just too much of a Japanese RPG, which in general I just don't like. They're just too system savvy.
So you're just going to let Spira just die, huh? You're not going to save Spira, huh?
I don't know who that is. I don't know.
That's the world, yes.
Okay, that's the world.
Titus was the guy from 10.
Okay.
Spira was the world.
Okay, gotcha.
But if you ever wanted to dip your toes in to this world, I would suggest Final Fantasy Tactics. That's like a great little...
I have played that.
Because it's not like the full-on crazy Final Fantasy stuff. It's like more of this like little strategy game enclosed in like these maps where you play and then the map is done and then you move on. It's really fun. Yeah. Like, I played through that thing a ton. When I was on tour, I had my little Game Boy Advance, and I was just, like, in the back of the tour bus the entire time. Or the tour van, excuse me. We weren't that fancy. But in the back of the van playing Final Fantasy Tactics
Yep.
all day. It was awesome.
I actually really like Kingdom Hearts, which is funny because I don't really like Final Fantasy, and 50% of the references in that damn game are Final Fantasy references. But it doesn't matter. I love those games. They're really fun. I love the Disney side of the things.
Sure.
But
Those are great games.
I'm trying to think of like favorite games overall. Zelda is a huge one for me, as it is for many people. That's a really safe response when people ask, what's your favorite game?
Are you going to buy the new Nintendo just to get that new Zelda?
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to buy a Wii U because I found out Zelda's not coming out for it. Or when it does come out for Wii U, it's also going to come out for the next console, so I'll probably just wait.
Yeah.
That's what I was hinging on. I was waiting for a new Zelda to get the Wii U, and now that I found that it will also be released simultaneously on whatever Nintendo's next console is, I immediately went, cool, don't need to buy a Wii U.
Don't need it. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't need it.
I like Nintendo games a lot. There's not a lot of Nintendo games I really like, but there's a few of them that I love immensely, and Zelda is one of them. Super Smash Brothers is another one. But there's just not enough on the Wii U for me to warrant getting it.
Sure. Yeah,
So.
I'm with you on that. I actually, at this point, I don't know if I'll ever buy another console. I don't know. I feel like I just want to play games on my PC.
Yeah. I
know.
like consoles a lot, and there's still some exclusives I have to play. I'm a big Halo fan, so I have to have an Xbox. I'm a big Naughty Dog fan, so I have to have a PlayStation because I love Uncharted. And actually, speaking of favorite games of all time, Last of Us is an incredible game, one of my all-time favorites. But yeah. Anyway, back to Hearthstone. What's our favorite classes? Since the beginning, I've been partial to Shaman, but honestly, haven't played them a whole lot.
Well, I can tell you Joss's, even though she's not here, it's Hunter.
Yep.
Yep. And I would say probably for me, Warlock. Warlock has been probably my most played by a huge margin. I don't know, just tapping and getting cards.
Yeah, I really like Warlock. I like Priest a lot. It's probably Shaman, Priest, and Warlock for me. I think are my top three.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, my three golden classes are Warrior, Warlock, and Hunter. So I guess take that for what it is.
Yep. And I don't have any because I switch classes a lot.
It is tough to sit there and just grind out. Like when you have like 10 more games to win.
Yep.
You're just like, no, I don't even want to play this deck right now. Like right now I'm kind of working on a bunch at the same time. But Paladin is my next closest, and there's no way I'm playing Paladin right now. I'm just
no, not at all. No, yeah, and I think Paladin is one of my highest just wins in general.
But it sucks so bad right now. It's like, to me, Paladin and Priest are like on the same level at this point. And I know it's good in tournaments when you play the N'Zoth Paladin, but on the ladder, it's like you got to play Cancer Paladin or not at all. You know, the N'Zoth just doesn't work.
Yeah, which I saw one of those this week, and I lost horribly too.
Also, I'll tell you other Jocelyn games she likes. She likes Smite.
Yep, love Smite.
She likes Rocket League.
Yep.
And she likes Heroes of the Storm.
Yep. Yeah.
And WoW.
Blizzard games in general is the answer from all three of us.
We all like WoW.
We're big Blizzard fans. We all came into this fray via World of Warcraft. Hell, we all met each other because we were either on or fans of the instance.
Yep. And actually, as soon as we're done with this show, I'm working on a World of Warcraft video. So, I mean, it's like still very much a part of my daily routine.
I am ecstatic about Legion. Absolutely ecstatic. I can't wait to get back into World of Warcraft. So, anyways, apparently chat room saying there was a patch while we've been recording.
Yeah, but it's not. There's nothing in it.
There's nothing. There's nothing really in it. The only interesting thing is, looks like Hearthhead data mined some strings that look like there are free packs coming with who knows what, probably the next adventure.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
So here's what they're saying, just so you guys know. There's a single string. Doesn't matter what the string says. Has now been activated. Seems like Blizzard is planning some sort of free pack promotion as part of the upcoming adventure. This is very similar to what we experienced with the Whispers of the Old Gods promotion, where special quests granted you 10 total packs. That'd be interesting, because why would they be giving you packs for an adventure?
I don't know.
That makes little sense, unless they wanted to dish out more cards immediately. Maybe they want to give you some of the cards from the set immediately and not lock them behind fighting bosses and wings.
Or maybe they're just giving out standard packs to just kind of lure in new players, right? Like buy the adventure and you also get some packs of like Whispers and TGT or something like that. Just to kind of get you going.
That makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
Or this is some weird thing we don't even know about, and it's not an adventure. It's actually another I don't know. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
It's exciting, though. Free packs is always good. I think they've done a great job just kind of hooking us up because at this point it is like, once you get a certain amount of cards, that really scratches that itch of wanting more, right? Or it causes the itch of, like, wanting more, right? And then, like, I think giving away a certain amount of stuff is what's going to get people to actually invest a little bit of cash because when you feel like you're so far behind, it just makes you kind of want to give up,
Yeah.
But once you have a little bit of a head start, like, oh, okay, I don't need that many more cards. Like, I'll just buy one set of 40, and I'm good, So, yeah, I think they need to keep doing that, man. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let's move on to the next email. Would you like to take it?
Sure. This one comes from Andrew, who says, "Hey, Tat Crew, you three are awesome. I look forward to the podcast every week." Aw, thanks, Andrew. Nothing better than pulling up my podcast app on the way to work and seeing a new angry chicken to listen to. So I spent the entire last weekend watching SeatStory Cup, maybe my favorite tournament of the year with all the big names in super casual manner. It was great, but I have to beat a dead horse. What the hell is up with all the damn Yogg?
Do we have to have this talk? Do we have to have this talk right now?
There's one little bit we can add on to this, but we have discussed this on the show. Yes, Yogg is RNG, and yes, watching Yogg decide the outcome of games is maybe not the greatest thing for esports stuff in general, whatever. But the thing is, you got to understand, like, if Yogg is good, pros are going to put it in. And as it turns out, Yogg is pretty good. But it's only good at certain situations. So this is not like Yogg's not like, play Yogg, win. It's not how it works. But it is the comeback from behind card. And that's what the pros end up using it for. Once you've gotten about 12 to 15 spells, you can kind of bank on the fact that Yogg will clear the board and draw you some cards. And so that's really what they're kind of looking for it to do. And that's like the only card that really does that in the game, outside of like Doom, right? But Yogg also has the potential to do some damage to the opponent, find lethals that you weren't able to find. But I don't think it's a problem yet. I don't think we can look at it and say Yogg is definitely causing esports not to be fun because we just had one of the funnest tournaments I've ever watched.
Yeah, that's where my brain. I'm of two minds because if I can bring in Salty Garrett for a moment, I'm at the point where I hate the frickin' card.
Okay.
I'm really just kind of done with it. I'm like, okay, it's kind of shitty now. It's kind of boring. It's kind of ruining my enjoyment of esports, and when I lose to it, it feels awful. That said, I kind of like the card. Like, I hate it, but I love just how frickin' nuts it is, and it's a card I want to still exist in Wild. I just wish it would go away sooner than over a year from now.
I could see that. I could definitely see that, like, in Wild, it makes a lot more sense because it's Wild, and things should get crazy. But if you watch a lot of these games, the casters are definitely like, okay, well, if he draws Yogg, he has a chance. But you still got to draw Yogg. You still got to play Yogg. Like, it wasn't like Yogg in the end, the finals was not decided by Yogg.
No, God, no.
It was decided by really good play.
The semis and the finals of SeatStory Cup were some of the best Hearthstone games I have ever witnessed.
Yeah. So I think people are making too big a deal out of it right now because when you really break it down, how many, like, were there series that Yogg just won the player of the series that he shouldn't have won? Not really. I don't think that really happened. And the percentage of the time it does happen is small enough that it's not an epidemic. It's a card that exists. It's really only in like 2 decks total.
Yeah. So that's my thing. I'm concerned that if it does become an epidemic, that it will get nerfed and it will no longer be good. And then when it does go to Wild, it will just be kind of like it'll just disappear forever because no one will play it. But at the same time, I'm like, could we maybe make an exception for some cards and throw their ass in Wild sooner?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally against that, but I don't think we'll see it. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's just fun. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I just back off a little bit and I say, I can handle this. Because when I watch poker, I don't get mad because some guy drew a 1-outer on the river. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's, like, effectively the equivalent is when people go all in with 2 crazy hands, and then we just watch 5 cards hit the board, and whatever happens, happens. Like, the skill all happened before that. So I'm okay with now there's a little bit of randomness thrown in. Because to me, it's the same thing with Yogg. Like, the skill all happened before the Yogg, and there was skill involved in it. And then choosing when to play the Yogg there's still some skill involved in that.
Right, and like you said, yeah, when we saw that in SeatStory, we saw it in the Strife Crow Frodan game. The Stripe card was so low, he had Yogg in hand for many turns, and just like, does he play it?
Yeah.
Like, do you risk it? Hell, he had it twice. He played it once, miraculously did not die, and then got it back in his hand.
Played it again and killed himself.
Yeah, and he played it again. That's what lost him the game. He would have lost the game anyway, but it was that. Even when you have it, it's not, you don't just slam it, because it's like, it could kill me, and especially when you're sitting on 4 health, it's very likely it will kill you.
Yeah, and if you play it too late and you're out of cards, it will overdraw you. Like, it's still, there's a timing aspect to it. I don't know. It's, to me, I get it. People don't like randomness. But if you really hate randomness, maybe Hearthstone isn't your jam, honestly. Like, it's not going away. Ben Brode even spent an entire section of his speech at BlizzCon a couple years ago defending their use of randomness in Hearthstone. And I'm on his side. I think there is definitely, there's definitely randomness that exists in Hearthstone for good reasons. Some of it I'm not a big fan of. Like, at this point, I really don't like a juggle on turn 2 deciding the game. That is more of a problem to me.
I agree.
Than a Yogg-Saron going crazy at the end and whatever happens. Like,
That said, don't make more Yogg-Saron like cards, please.
Sure. It should be a special card. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see a lot more. Like, okay, so like the Morose card that I designed, there's randomness there, but the randomness is small and will basically, like what I think Ben Brode talks about is, add to the skill, right? Because depending on the situation that you end up in, then you have to then adjust to that situation, right? I do agree. Like, Yogg doesn't create a situation where you can adjust. You just sit back and watch it happen.
That's the thing, and that's where I think Yogg, where Yogg fails, because it does not really add skill. I mean, yes, you have to make the decision: do I play it or do I not play it? But that's not a whole lot going on there, because when you do play it, everything that happens after that it's pure randomness, and I think that's why it's such a polarizing card.
Sure, absolutely. Well, people in chat room are talking about the early game RNG too. It's I mean, to me, stuff like that has been more of a problem forever. Yeah. Because like we've talked about on the show, no matter where the juggle goes, somebody's pissed. Yep. Somebody feels like they got unlucky. And that's I think more of a problem. So yeah, I mean, Yogg costs 10 mana. It's like, I don't know. It's, to me, it's never going to like make or break decks. Like, you could play the Yogg Druid without Yogg, and it would still be pretty powerful, right? You could put something else in there. But the reason why Yogg is in there is because when you do fall behind, here's the only way to maybe win, right? So
exactly. Yeah. It's the big red button.
Yeah, but it doesn't try to win with that. It tries to win with Onyxia and Savage Roar. I mean, that's what it tries to win with.
Yeah.
Just sometimes doesn't do it, and then it has the emergency, break glass,
break Yogg in case of emergency.
Yeah,
exactly. So, anyways, let's put it this way: it's a card I like in theory, but I will not be sad when it's gone.
Okay, I'm on board with that.
So. Our final email comes to us from Marco, and Marco writes, "Hello, my skill at playing the game is fairly low." Wow, you're just putting it all out there, aren't you, Marco?
Damn. Yeah. Don't be so down on yourself,
No,
Marco. I'm sure you're great, man.
I enjoy building decks and sometimes feel that a deck I created would be amazing in a pro's hand, but I don't have any pro friends. Also, since my skill at the game is mediocre at best, it is hard for me to know if I have a good deck or not. Do you have any way to evaluate decks if your skill level is beginner to intermediate? If you know of pro players who would be interested, what do you think about a Collect the Meta follow-up segment where a pro plays the deck and sees how far they can get on the ladder and then get their suggested changes? Thanks.
Well, I'm going to make a couple suggestions to Marco here. One is to watch Zalay's stream, because when Zalay streams, he does Deck Doctor segments pretty much every single time. So you do have to like make a donation, but then he will take your deck list and play it and then make suggestions. So there you go. That's one way to get exactly what you're looking for. I also do this kind of stuff on my stream. I have a bounty system thing set up where you can click the bounty button and then you put your deck list in, and then I will play 3 games with it, make adjustments, and talk about why I think it's good or bad. People are mentioning in chat, Firebat does it as well. So there you go. Hotform is another guy. You can tweet Hotform your deck list, and he says he will always answer your tweets. So there's another guy. So there are guys out there who are willing to give you some feedback, Marco, if you're looking for it. So, I think just seek those guys out and make some more friends, man. Make some more Hearthstone friends. When you have a really good game, maybe when you lose, try adding the guy. Don't be like the douche who adds when you win, and then but,
you never know what.
yeah.
But when you, although a lot of times if you lose and you add someone, people might assume you're ready to flame them out. But
that's true too. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. So actually, go to our subreddit.
There you go.
And make a post in there and say, I'm looking for friends. And
yes.
I'm sure you will find, because we have a really good community.
That's a good place to go. tacpodcast.reddit.com. You can also tweet at tacpodcast, and we'll retweet it for you and get some eyeballs on it. But other than that, there are plenty. If you just Google deck building in Hearthstone, there's tons of resources out there to teach you how to build a good deck in Hearthstone. Mm-hmm. But a lot of a lot of stuff we talked about back in the day, things just like have a good curve, that type of really obvious stuff. It's less and less important because a lot of decks nowadays they're so insanely well tailored. There are very specific combos that you're looking to do. So as much as it can be helpful to teach someone for the first time that's never heard of what a curve is and how to make a good one, really in the game of Hearthstone, outside of Arena, when you're just playing constructed, you really need to go look at the archetypes. You need to go educate yourself on archetypes, and then kind of have that help guide you.
I think when you're developing a deck, figure out what your win conditions are, and then understand how you need to get to them. Right. So at this point, like your win condition can just be a good curve. Right. I just play minions, and then I hit your face with them because I'm playing minions on curve. My minions are slightly better than yours, and I use spot removal or whatever. But, and that is technically a win condition, but that's more like you said, like that's an arena style of play. And in Hearthstone, you're going to see too many people have these really synergistic decks that are going to kind of destroy you if that's like your only way to win, right? So a lot of times, like the win condition is something like some big combo, some big damage combo. Raging Worgen is a huge example of this. You play all of this draw and all this stuff, and then you look at the curve and you're like, dude, how does this deck win? Like the curve stops at 3, But the fact is, Raging Worgen does 60 damage or whatever when you have the full combo. So that's your win condition. You identify that, and then you build the deck around that, which is like draw to it, survive, remove the other guy's stuff, make sure you don't die. Like those are the things to allow you to get to it. But you need to know what those win conditions are, right? So like N'Zoth is a win condition. I play N'Zoth, I bring back all those Death Rattle minions. He can't deal with this board. Cthulhu, that's just like, boom, 1 card win condition, right? I build up Cthulhu, then I YOLO you for, 20 damage or whatever. That's the kind of stuff you need to identify. And then so just start there and then kind of work backwards, I think is a really good way to start for a lot of people. I think too many people try to just go, well, this is a good card, and this is a good card, and this is a good card. And it's like, none of these cards work together. It's like
exactly, and that's the other thing I think, because your bomb things like N'Zoth, it's kind of obvious to see what you need to do there, why it's a bomb, and then how you need to build your deck. Obviously, you need to, in that case, you need to put Death Rattles. Sure. But I think it's good to go and look at decks that have already existed, not necessarily to copy, but to understand why there are cards that I don't know what's the word. They're not spotlight cards. Like Azure Drake, for example, is in a ton of decks. Mm-hmm. But go look and figure out why, and look at other cards that aren't as obvious. Go look at N'Zoth decks and look at the non-Death Rattle minions and learn why those minions are in there. Azure Drake is in a lot of decks because it cycles. You're playing a 4/4 for 5, which is underpowered for the many you spent, but it draws you a card, and if you have any spells, that +1 spell damage can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Azure Drake is like the perfect example because it is a balanced card that has been in Hearthstone decks forever, from day one, and has not changed. It has always been a 5-mana 4/4 that with +1 spell power that draws a card. That is what it has always been, and it is to this day still really good. And what it does is it, like you said, it cycles, so it gets you to those win conditions while also acting as a way to stall the game out, do something in the mid game, that kind of stuff. Like those are the kind of cards, those are the bridges, right, to your win conditions, and you need to understand like why they're bridges, what they do. A card like Loot Hoarder looks terrible, right? But it's in so many decks because it's I put it on the board. It's there, and I draw a card. Like you have to deal with it, or I'm going to hit you for 2 every turn.
I would argue a lot of times if I play Loot Hoarder, the answer is because I'm Priest, and there's not a better option.
Yeah, because that's it, man. What else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But it's like those types of cards are the bridges, but the win condition is still where you're always trying to get, and that's, I think, a concept newer players aren't familiar with, because you think, oh, well, my win condition is I deal 30 damage, but how? That's the
exactly
point, right?
Exactly. So it's fine. I'm glad you brought up the curve that doesn't go above 3, and then looking at it being like, how does this win? And
Yeah.
you brought me back to when we first saw a Zulok played for the first time.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, you're like, what the hell?
What? What
Yeah.
this goes because we came in at the ground level of Hearthstone with our Magic the Gathering knowledge of you always just want a good curve and burger, and like no, F that. You just want to deploy everything in your hand.
Yeah.
So
We actually had a really good conversation on Value Town about removal and why like AoE removal is so much more prevalent in a game like Magic. A 4-mana card like Wrath of God just like clears the board, right? Like destroys all minions, and you couldn't really have that in Hearthstone. And this is like one of the things you also have to understand about how Hearthstone is played. It's like Hearthstone is very built around the minion combat and stuff like that, but also like you can't have a card like that because in Magic you can counter it. In Hearthstone, you can't. In Hearthstone, you just sit there and go, damn, my board's gone. But in Magic, you can at least go like, in response, I will tap this guy and do the thing he does, and then I will do that. You know what I mean? So
you also
like, there's huge reasons why those types of things work in different games.
There's no
And
minion cap
Hearthstone's
in Magic
Yeah.
either. So since you can get up to
True.
obscene amounts of minions, there needs to be cards that just kill everything.
Yeah, deal with that. No, it's
Yeah.
very true. Because you could have like the dopest minion ever, and then he just chump blocks for days with his 1/1s. You're like, I can never kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta have stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
so it's hilarious looking at what is considered a token deck in a game in Hearthstone, and then looking at what is considered a token deck in Magic.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Token deck in Magic never stops making tokens.
It's comical. It is absolutely comical.
I love looking at cards in Magic and being like, what if this was a Hearthstone card? Holy crap. Like, this would be so damn broken.
It would be absurd.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Think
absurd.
about a card, like, just think Siege Rhino, and just think about if that was a card in Hearthstone. Because basically what Siege Rhino would do would be like a Yeti that also, Holy Fires you? Is that what it is? Like, at the same time.
I'm trying to remember the stats on Siege Rhino. 4/5.
So Siege Rhino is a
enters the
4-mana,
battlefield.
4/5.
Each
It
opponent
deals
loses
3 damage to you and heals you for 3.
Yeah, it
3
deals-
damage to your opponent and heals you for 3.
heals you for 3. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's such a stupid.
And when
card.
health is 20, think about that being like 30 instead. So it would probably be something like deal 5 and then gain 5 and play a 4/5 for 4.
Yep, that is a fun game to play, by the way, guys. If you're ever
Disgusting.
bored, and you like theory crafting cards, go look up Magic cards. Go look up Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't give a crap. And it's just like, what if this was a Hearthstone card? So, anyways, Marco, thank you for your email. Thank you to Andrew and Ryan also for writing in. Once again, if you want to email us, you can do so at tacpodcast@gmail.com. Dills, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. The next time we get together, because we'll be traveling on Thursday, so unfortunately won't be able to do a Brawl episode this week, we'll be all in the same damn room, and we'll be talking about whatever the next adventure is.
We're gonna know by then. But we'll be up super late, I guess, watching it, and then we're gonna get up super early for what's first Gamers in bright and early in the morning.
If you're getting in Thursday night, Friday setup, con is Saturday.
Well, yeah, but Friday night is when the announcement is, right?
It's Thursday
Or is it
night.
Thursday? Oh, it's Thursday night. Okay,
Thursday night.
cool. Then we're chilling. All
Yeah,
right.
we're chilling. We're chilling. We're gonna wake up and start setting stuff up, and we'll be like, "Can you believe this card? Oh my god!"
Yeah.
We'll be theory crafting while we're hanging banners with zip ties.
I'm excited for that, man.
That's what's gonna be happening. So.
Looking forward to all the banner hanging.
Gonna be fun. There's only 3 of them. It won't take that long.
Oh,
Anyways, thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. This specific episode wasn't sponsored, but definitely go check out harrys.com. Use the code TAC and get a discount on their starter kit. They just sent me a brand new box. It showed up seconds
we're
before the
supposed
show.
to get the new version, right?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Actually, I'm just going to open it and
All
just
right.
take. There's too many boxes.
I gotta
there.
see if they sent it because I'm excited. I've been saving my beard up.
Yep, I've
I can-
got it.
yeah.
And would you look at this? Would you look at this beautiful razor?
Nice.
I really like the weight of their razor blades, by the way.
So I think I mentioned it on the last time we talked about it, but if you're using them, do the slow drag across. Don't do the thing that every guy learns how to shave.
No staccato shaving. You want
Fast motion,
slow,
yeah.
and you want to commit. You want to
Yeah.
commit to what you're doing, slow and all the way through. Follow
good.
through on your shave.
You don't always have to shave hard, guys.
No, you don't. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to shave gently. And my Tenacious D friends out there
Tenacious D has told us.
will understand that, and your children are safe from harm. Anyway, thanks again to our patrons. Thanks to Harrys.com. Use the code TAC at checkout. Get a discount on their starter kit. Thank you, iTunes reviewers. We really do appreciate those as well. PJC Nermer. Dude, you need some vowel. Want to buy vowels. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sluggy Junks, who wins the name game this week, and Alexander Laminin. Thank you guys for your 5-star iTunes reviews. If you're an iTunes listener and you haven't left us a review, we would really appreciate one. Find us on amove.tv or youtube.com/amovetv. Big thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Peter Williams, and King Louie. You can get coffee mugs and glasses over at bit.ly/amovestore. Actually, we have a new t-shirt available. And I made a new thing, and I forgot what it was. It's shirts.amove.tv for the new Jobs Done Angry Chicken t-shirt. Go over there, check it out. I'm excited to get mine. Should be showing up shortly. Follow us on Twitter, @TAC Podcast. Catch us live, usually Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch TV/AmoveTV. But catch us this Saturday. Well, there'll be just tons of awesome podcasts on the live AMOVE TV stream at twitch.tv/AMOVE all day for CreateCon. And we'll be doing a live Angry Chicken where we will be joined by our good buddy, Justin Robert Young. We can even poke his beard. It'll be a good time.
There's going to be a lot to talk about, man.
There's going to be a ton to talk about. So you can follow Jocelyn on Twitter @JossPlays. Dills, where can folks find you?
Check me out on Twitter. I am @WillyDills, twitch.tv/WillyDillsSF. The Instance and Stormcast are the other shows that I am a part of. There's some other stuff in the pipeline I'm excited about. But for now, I'm just going to tell you guys, youtube.com/WillyDillsSF. There will be another video coming out today about Survival Hunter. If you are playing World of Warcraft and back in, there's a lot of changes. And they're kind of crazy. And everything is different. So I'm trying to make like quick primers on the new spec and the rotation just to get you going. They're not going to be like the perfect most DPS ever, but they're going to get you like off and running. So check that out, youtube.com/WillyDillsSF, and that's it.
Awesome. Folks can find me on Twitter @GarrettArt. All of the podcasts are on amove.tv, so go check that out. And I'm going to pimp Into the Nexus. It has nothing to do with me because I was not on it last week. But Kyle...
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, Garrett, I think it was my favorite episode of Into the Nexus.
It was phenomenal.
It was so good.
Kyle got Dreadnought on, who is my all-time favorite Heroes caster. He is fantastic, and he is also apparently an encyclopedia of Heroes knowledge. So go listen to the most recent episode of Into the Nexus. I am not on it. Listen to Kyle Ferguson extract more Heroes of the Storm knowledge from Dreadnought than you ever thought possible. It's a really good one.
Very enjoyable conversation.
Yeah. Do not miss it, guys. So big, huge props to all of my co-hosts, guys. You all held it down beautifully while I was gone. I really appreciate it. Thanks for us not having to take a week off. So
now you get to do it guilt-free whenever you need to, man. You know that we got it.
Exactly. I'm just going to, they got it. It's fine. Okay, Garrett, I get it, but this is the third time this month. Could you maybe show up?
Dude, again?
Really, Anyways, so that's it. That's awesome. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you at CreateCon. I can't believe it's coming. Good luck and have fun. Good luck and have fun. No, that's the wrong show. Job's done.
Job's done. Job's done. Yes!